Welcome to the June 12th, 2017 meeting of the Marquette City Commission. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Would you please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. City Clerk, could we have the roll call, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Commissioner Kimbenzi?
Here.
Commissioner Conley? Commissioner Frazier?
Here.
Commissioner Plord?
Here.
Commissioner Reynolds?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Baldini?
Here.
Mayor Campana?
Here. Commissioner Conley is absent tonight. Is there a motion to excuse him? Commissioner Plord?
I move that we excuse Commissioner Conley due to the fact that he's out of town today.
Is there a second? Commissioner Reynolds?
Second.
All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? That carries 6-0. In front of you have the agenda for tonight. Would someone wish to approve of this agenda? Commissioner Baldini.
We adopt the agenda as presented.
Would there be a second? Commissioner Frazier?
Second.
All those in favor, please say yes.
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 Opposed? That also carries 6-0. We come to announcements. I would just like to mention we have city committees that advise the city commission and the city staff on what needs to be done in the city. We currently have 20 openings on 11 different boards and committees. These boards and committees function to study, suggest, and advise the city on topics of concern within the city. We could use citizens who are willing to volunteer a few hours per month, help make Marquette a better place to be. You get to meet good people, interesting people, and make a difference in our city. If you wish to do this, if you wish to volunteer some time, please contact any of the commissioners, go to the city website, or call the city manager's office. Next we come to boards and committees. Tonight we have one reappointment, and that is Amy Manning to the Marquette County Solid Waste Management Authority for a term ending 7/1/2020. Would someone like to make a motion? Commissioner Baldini.
I move we reappoint Amy Manning, Marquette County Solid Waste Management Authority for a term expiring 7/1/20.
Is there a second? Commissioner Reynolds.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none? You have discussion.
I would just like to say thank you to Yorma Lankinen, who did put in an application, and I guess I greatly value his service on our authority, and I'm looking forward to hopefully having him serve again if there is no interest from our other candidates who also hold those seats at this time. So I would like to thank him for that, and hopefully see him on there again.
Thank you for doing that. I would agree with you. Yorma's been on that committee for many, many years, has the most institutional knowledge of anyone on that committee, and his expertise will be missed. It's unfortunate that the city can no longer be on it because he is a city resident, and he can no longer be a city resident according to the new rules. So hopefully in the future you'll land back on the the landfill. Solid waste. Thank you, committee. Okay, next we come to public. Oh, we didn't vote. I'm sorry. All those in favor, please say yes.
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 Opposed? Carry 6-0. Now we come to our one and only public hearing of the evening. It's a public hearing for Ordinance 655, definitions. City Clerk, if you could give us the background, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Background. The City Commission on May 8th adopted ordinances 650, 51, 52, and 53, which amended the city zoning ordinance and the Rental Fire Safety Code to address short-term rentals. Those amendments included the alteration of some definitions used in other portions of the code. Additionally, the amendments mean that homestays, which were previously licensed through the city business license process, are now regulated under the zoning ordinance and permitted by the fire department. This ordinance addresses these issues by standardizing the definitions used throughout the code and by removing homestays from business license section. This ordinance was introduced at the May 30, 2017 regular meeting of the City Commission, and a public hearing was scheduled for tonight's meeting. Fiscal effect, none by this action. Recommendation, after the public hearing, consider the adoption of Ordinance 655, an ordinance to amend City Code Chapter 12, Businesses, Article 5, Hotels, Section 12-141, Definitions. Alternatives as determined by the Commission.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to open this public hearing. If anyone wishes to address the commission, now would be your time. You have 3 minutes. We need name, address, and do we have anybody wish to address the commission at this point? Anybody? Seeing none, we're going to close the public hearing. Do we have a motion for this agenda item? Commissioner Plord.
I move that we adopt ordinance number 655, an ordinance to amend City Code Chapter 12, Businesses, Article 5, Hotels, Section 12-141, Definitions.
Is there a second? Commissioner Frazier,
Second.
any discussion?
Thank you, Your Honor. Just to say that this is a continuation of an ongoing process, and it does have to do with short-term rentals. But what it really is a streamlining of definitions to what we want, what they mean today. We're basically bringing these definitions up to date.
No further comments? This requires a roll call vote. City Clerk?
Thank you, Mayor. Commissioner Kimbenzi,
Yes.
Commissioner Frazier,
Yes.
Commissioner Plord,
Yes.
Commissioner Reynolds,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Baldini,
Yes.
Mayor Campana.
Yes, that carries 6-0. Next, we come to our one presentation of the evening. That will be the election board by City Clerk Chris Hazardous. Chris?
Max, if you're ready. Yay. Good evening. This is our annual report regarding the election board. We've had a very busy year, with last year having 2 elections that involved a president and a few other issues that were really keeping us busy. But our members, which are fairly new, Barb Hine, Margaret Schwam, Suman Hennick, Linda Rowe, and I'm the clerk of the board. Kyle Whitney is the liaison. We are regulated by State of Michigan election code. We meet to certify candidates for the election. We appoint election inspectors and conduct public accuracy test of the election equipment, which we do right before every election to make sure that everything is a zero balance, and then they are sealed to go into the election. We are, as a matter of fact, this week receiving new machines, new tabulators that were paid for by Help America Vote Act, which are federal funds, and also the state of Michigan came up with additional funds. Bids, this was a bid process that took about 2 years, and when it finally came down to, they figured out what we were looking for, which mainly we're updating our technology with the new tabulators and the security. We're also getting new units that are, they used to be the auto marks, which was a ballot marking unit for anyone that wanted to use handicapped, whether you were hearing impaired, visually impaired. The state provides for those, and I'll be doing a demonstration at SAIL late July to do these new machines. We're pretty excited about the training. It should go fairly smooth. When we were looking at the bids for these units, we came up with one vendor that would meet all the requirements, and there was no charge to us. However, it wasn't the vendor that we are normally using and that's familiar with the UP. And when the county clerk put that to the test and said, we like to go with this, so we're not being charged, but gee, it'd be nice to have our same vendor, the company went ahead and they matched that. So we have absolutely no cost, thanks to our county clerk, which was great. It's been an ongoing tough process. So we are training this week. We are training new election inspectors July 25th, so right before the election. So they will be up and ready to roll for the August primary. Our upcoming meetings to appoint election inspectors on July 6th, July 25th. We are changing that actually to the following morning because we're doing our training on the 25th and we're going to do our accuracy test the following morning. September 28th, we again appoint for the November election, and October 24th, again, conducting the accuracy test. And then our last meeting of the year is always to confirm the meeting of the following year. And that's short and sweet.
Commissioner Baldini.
I have a quick question. You have new tabulators this year.
New
Do we have the
tabulators.
same ballot that we did before?
They are the very same ballots.
All right.
They're the very same ballots.
Thank you.
So for the voter, typical voter, there'll be no change that they'll have to go through.
The machine will look a little different, but it is basically a faster machine reading the ballots and more secure. So the process is basically the same.
Commissioner Cambenzi?
Do we want to mention, I guess, the change in precincts? Just for, is that going to be permanent going forward?
I'm hoping, yes, due to the service center, the new service center being finished, hopefully in time for the August election. We had precincts 3, 4, and 5 in the Cityplex. And now precinct 4 will move over to the new service center. Precinct 3 will come here. So it will be 1, 2, and 3 in Baraga Gym. And precinct 5 will move to the YMCA. So that will be 5, 6, and 7. And I just ordered banners and signage, and we're going to make it well known where people are changing voting.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you.
Next, we have our first public comment of the evening. Public comment is when citizens may address the commission. You have 3 minutes. We need name, address, city or township. I'm going to open public comment. If you also want to reserve time to speak on one of our items coming up for discussion, now would be your time to do that. Does anyone wish to address the commission at this point?
Good evening, Yorma Lankin, 8 Marquette Drive here in the city of Marquette. I just want to say it has been an extreme pleasure and honor to serve the city of Marquette on the Landfill Authority as well as the county to serve on the Landfill Authority. So total between the two entities, 16 years on it. So we have seen a lot in the Landfill Authority changing its scope and structure and management. And we are in really good hands, and it will continue to go forward really nicely with our new management doing a super job for everybody concerned, all the 22 municipalities. So again, it's been my honor and pleasure, and I will perhaps try again depending on a vacancy. So thank you again.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My comment is more under new business, but is it appropriate now? Or? I don't know if the public comment.
Come on up.
Divided up at all. Come on up.
You've got 3 minutes to talk now if you want to just talk about something or anything.
Okay.
And if you wish to talk on an agenda item, just say that you would like to talk at that point. You can also get another 3 minutes.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
Is that what you want to do or
So,
not?
no, this will just be, I think I can just do the 3 minutes.
The one time?
Not
Okay.
really an agenda item.
Okay. So name, address.
So my name's Keith Glendon, 1509 West Avenue. And I am a
That's City of
complaint-
Marquette, right?
City of Marquette, yes, sir. So I'm standing here as a representative of the interests of many other Marquette residents, of our children, of our grandchildren, and the future of our beautiful city. I address this commission this evening with a request that the city of Marquette develop and adopt a formal resolution relative to climate action and environmental sustainability, stating and codifying our city's commitment to taking positive action to minimize our human impact on the climate and on the environment. While climate change and environmental sustainability may not in themselves seem to be city business, we believe they absolutely are. This perspective is supported by our own master plan, which states Marquette is, and I quote, especially vulnerable to environmental, economic, and social impacts of climate change. Given the national and global attention to these matters in recent weeks, now is really a good time for Marquette to take a clear stand. It's understandable that the safe play for political leaders with regard to such controversial issues as this would be to sort of take a wait and see and do nothing. But we believe that and submit that the time for safe political plays has passed, and we believe that our community stands for responsible development, sustainable growth, and a commitment to reduce our negative impact to the climate and environment wherever possible. We believe a formal statement of principle not only provides an important guidepost for future policy, but also asserts an essential value of who we are and what we strive to be in Marquette. We believe this statement would not be controversial, but rather really an affirmation of things we're already doing. It would add momentum and awareness to those positive steps we're already taking as a community. We further request that Mayor Campana join with his cohorts from numerous Michigan cities and around the United States in pledging support for the Mayor's Climate Action Network and the principles laid out in the Paris Climate Accord, as they pertain to us on a local level. A petition started about a week ago on change.org had nearly 600 signatures as of this morning. Over 400 were Marquette residents, with others from surrounding areas and many representing connections to Marquette. While we recognize that online petitions are not necessarily carrying of the full weight of a formal handwritten petition, we do hope this commission will consider these voices of support in our community and surrounding areas as a representative sample of the viewpoints of that community. Let's join with the cities like Lansing, East Lansing, Detroit, Grand Rapids, Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti, Kalamazoo, Flint, Boulder, Colorado, Bend, Oregon, Iowa City, Iowa, and hundreds of others in making a statement and drawing a line in the sand. We're not asking you to join, to stick your necks out and lead on your own. We're asking you to join a movement of leaders at home here in Michigan, across the U.S., and around the world. On behalf of Marquette today, tomorrow, and our grandchildren's future, we hope you'll take this request and action it immediately. I do have a copy. I got 1 second left of the petition if you'd like it for the...
You could give it to the city clerk.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Would anyone else wish to address the commission? Anyone else? Seeing none, we're going to close public comment. We're going to move to the consent agenda. Commissioners, would someone like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda? Commissioner Frazier?
I'd like to approve the consent agenda as listed.
Would there be a second? Commissioner Reynolds?
Second.
Comments? None? All those in favor?
Yes.
Please say yes.
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 Opposed? That passes 6-0. Under new business, we have 2 items. The first item is the purchase of property from James Beckman. City Clerk, could you give us the background on that, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Background, as a result of the preferred alternative being chosen for the proposed transportation system improvements related to the relocation of the former Marquette General Hospital, various properties or portions thereof were identified as needing to be acquired for the project. City staff has reached an agreement with James Beckman for the purchase of his property, Lot 100 of Baldwin's Addition, and the city attorney has prepared the attached purchase agreement for commission approval. Fiscal effect, an agreed-upon cash payment of $1,000 will be made and funded through the Brownfield Plan for the DLP Marquette General Replacement Hospital. This plan was approved by the Marquette City Commission on October 27, 2014. Funds for this project were obligated in the plan for this project. Recommendation, approve the purchase of lot number 100 of Baldwin's Addition to the City of Marquette from James Beckman per the terms of the purchase agreement. Alternatives as determined by the Commission.
Thank you. Commissioners, do we have a motion? Commissioner Plord.
I move we approve the purchase of lot number 100, Baldwin's addition to the city of Marquette from James Beckman per the terms of the purchase agreement.
Would there be a second? Commissioner Frazier?
Second.
Comments? Commissioner Plord, anything? Nothing? Commissioner Frazier, anything? Commissioner Cambenzi?
If I could just ask the clerk, I will be voting no on this, and just for the minutes to show that it's, I guess, being consistent with my original no votes on the financial nature of this part of the project.
Anyone else? City Clerk, could we have a roll call vote on this, please?
Certainly, Mayor. Commissioner Cambenzi,
No.
Commissioner Frazier,
Yes.
Commissioner Plord,
Yes.
Commissioner Reynolds,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Baldini,
Yes.
and Mayor Campana.
Yes. So that carries 5-1. We move to our second new business item, which is the purchase of property from John Bleckner. City Clerk, background, please.
Thank you, sir. Background: as a result of the preferred alternative being chosen for the proposed transportation system improvements related to the relocation of the former Marquette General Hospital, various properties or portions thereof were identified as needing to be acquired for the project. City staff has reached an agreement with John Bleckner for the purchase of portions of his property at both 525 and 545 Fisher Street, and the city attorney has prepared the attached purchase agreement for commission approval. Fiscal effect: an agreed-upon cash payment of $93,000 will be made and funded through the Brownfield Plan for the DLP Marquette General Replacement Hospital. This plan was approved by the Marquette City Commission on October 27, 2014. Funds for this project were obligated in the plan for this project. Recommendation: approve the purchase of portions of property at 525 and 545 Fisher Street from John Bleckner per the terms of the purchase agreement. Alternatives as determined by the Commission.
Thank you. Commissioners, do we have a motion for this purchase? Commissioner Reynolds.
I move that we approve the purchase of the portions of property at 525 and 545 Fisher Street from John Bleckner per the terms of the purchase agreement.
Do we have a second? Commissioner Baldini.
Support.
Do we have any comments? Commissioner Reynolds?
Just that I'm glad that we're continuing through the plan, and I'm glad that we found a purchase agreement instead of doing things the eminent domain way. So I'm just glad that we've come up with a solution to these problems.
Commissioner Baldini, anything?
Ditto.
Ditto. Any other comments? Commissioner Plord?
Just to reiterate that I think, at least for myself anyway, with that, the last thing we want to do is eminent domain, so I also am glad that we're doing it this way. We were able to reach a legitimate agreement with the property owner.
Thank you. Okay, all those in favor, please say yes. Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? That
Wait,
carries
wait,
6-0.
Are we doing roll call?
You did it on the last one. I don't know if you were going
Well, I was told that if it's unanimous, we don't have to do it.
Oh, no.
You're going to vote no? Okay, then we'll take a roll call vote. Please.
Certainly. Commissioner Cambenzi,
No.
Commissioner Frazier,
Yes.
Commissioner Plord,
Yes.
Commissioner Reynolds,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Baldini,
Yes.
Mayor Campana.
Yes. That carries 5-1. Next, we move to our second and last public comment of the evening. Again, it's a chance for citizens to address the commission. If you'd like to address the commission, you got 3 minutes. We need name, address, city, or township. I'm going to open public comment. Anybody wish to address the commission at this time? Anybody? This is the first. See no one, we're going to close public comment. We're going to go to comments from the commission. We're going to start with Mayor Pro Tem Baldini.
Thank you, Your Honor. Maybe we should all keep ours to 30 seconds. We'd set a new record tonight for brevity in meetings. But I did want to take some time tonight to talk about the the whole question of the Paris Climate Agreement, and not so much the climate agreement, but much more what I think gets lost in the shuffle is the record that the city of Marquette has established over a period of time. As I said, I've asked the mayor for this opportunity to comment on this matter, because sometimes in the noise and the clamor of Washington, D.C., we neglect or we forget what local governments or communities in America are doing to reduce emissions and really to improve the environment and climate. And these comments are my observations, but having worked with my colleagues on the commission, I suspect they are supportive of some of the things I'm going to say, but it should be understood that they're my observations. And thinking about the president's recent action withdrawing from the Paris Climate Agreement, I began to think about the proactive things that this commission and previous commissions for the city of Marquette and therefore the citizens have taken, planned, or implemented to improve and protect the environment of our area. And prior to being elected to this commission in 2014, the city commission adopted a resolution in 2013, an extensive long title saying a partnership of the city of Marquette and the Superior Watershed Partnership to conduct climate change adaptation planning with technical assistance from the Great Lakes Integrated Science Assessment Center and Michigan State University Extension. The resolution was required. It was a prerequisite to a grant application for the city and other interested groups. The project team reviewing the application, and I think this is interesting, the project team reviewing the application chose the city of Marquette in partnership with the Lake Superior Watershed Partnership and the Land Trust because of the city's vulnerability, but also because of the community's readiness and resources to support a climate adaptation plan. The city was one of two communities selected, and Marquette was chosen based on its unique climate vulnerabilities in forestry, water, tourism, as well as its capacity to implement a final plan. Workshops were held, public comments were taken, and the city adopted then, as many of you, not many of you, I doubt very few of you have, looked at the master plan. It's an extensive document. You can go online and look at it under the city and type in master plan. And if you go to chapter 8, which deals with natural environment, and appendix C, adapting to climate change for the master plan. I'm not going to review all of it because doing that, eyes would probably glaze over quicker. And but the document, it's a plan that we use in the city for a whole series of things, and the staff uses it. It's a way for us in a community to say this is how you translate public policy. The document is available for reading, as I said, in Peter White or online. And I want to review a couple of items because I think I believe it speaks to who and what we are as a community, and regardless of what the federal government does. It also provides an opportunity to remind us of the many things Marquette has done to protect the environment and adapting to the changes that we find ourselves confronted with. Is there room for additional improvement? Absolutely. As I began to look at these different items of action to include in my comments, I felt it was the community has a right to feel a great deal of pride in the action this commission and this community has taken over the years. Some years ago, Marquette City decided to treat stormwater runoff. Residents, business, schools, and others were required to pay for this treatment. This was bold, progressive move on the part of the Marquette community. I had the opportunity in the 90s to hold a federal government position responsible for maintaining the quality of water between Canada and the United States, and especially the Great Lakes. And I can tell you that this was a major policy decision on the part of Marquette. Many communities in the basin today are still not as effective as Marquette in treating its storm water. Good for Marquette. Recently, the Marquette Board of Light and Power borrowed over $70 million, so that's real money, to convert the generation of power from coal to natural gas. A major financial environmental commitment to clean energy by the community. The users of the BLP power received a substantial increase in their monthly bills, but they paid for this. Not cheap, not an easy decision, but one that was taken and will positively impact the environment here on the greatest of the Great Lakes. This has now led the Board of Light and Power to implement a solar farm and another positive step forward. Along these same lines of discussions, we will be losing the Presque Isle power plant that burns coal. It's a major taxpayer in the county and the community. The losses of these dollars to our government, schools, and senior programs and others will be difficult to make up, but we will continue to support those programs despite the closing of this plant. In the next month or two, the City Commission will be considering a proposal from Johnson Controls. They are evaluating how we as a city use energy to run our business side of the city, our street lights, our street signals, ice making and cooling at Lakeview Arena, our use of energy to run our wastewater treatment plant, and every aspect of the energy used by the city. They will come to us with a proposal that will require us to spend a considerable amount of money, but with the result that we will save an even greater amount and use that money to pay off the debt that we incur. We will have to borrow the money. It's millions of dollars, but it's a statement of efficiency and a commitment to the environment. The staff, with the support of the Commission, took the lead and has been working with Johnson Control because we saw the possibility to use less energy, thereby having to generate less power and helping the environment and our bottom line. It would have been much easier and less stressful, I can tell you, on the staff, if we hadn't pursued this. It is taking a considerable amount of time, but we believe we will positively impact the city and the environment. So stay tuned in the next couple of months. The Commission will be holding a work session with Johnson Control, and you will be hearing much more about this. We have also been one of the leaders in the county with solid waste disposal. We heard that tonight. Yarmouth was here and other people to talk about it. Marquette County has been a solid waste authority, part of it. The governmental unit come together and decided that we can do more with disposing of our solid waste as an authority. We are right now, as a commission, in discussions for a new contract for garbage pickup in the city. One of the major points of discussion is recycling, something this commission and the residents of this town are very focused on. The commission and the residents of the city have to pay for this service. It's not free, and they're willing to do it because we understand the significance and the importance of this recycling. More recently, myself and Commissioner Cambenzi have become members of a group that has come together to work on Climate Adaptation Task Force, or CADRA. Former City Commissioner Bob Kulishek, who is very organized and disciplined, is chair of this group. And the work of this group is to educate and provide support for energy uses and issues in climate throughout the county, the city, and really throughout the Upper Peninsula. And we feel it's a very interesting group, and it's been recognized by by Washington and by the state of Michigan, and we've received some kudos and some dollars. I could continue with other aspects, Mr. Mayor, but I want to take a moment, and perhaps a longer moment, to just review what we as a community and members have been doing to improve and protect the environment. We can only speak for the city and that which directly impacts us here in the city. I'm not suggesting that we diminish the importance of national environmental policy. Polluted winds from the west will impact us, and we have to concern ourselves what is being done nationally. I'm sure this commission will continue to work on protecting and improving the environment of the community. I understand the frustration of citizens who feel they are not being listened to or respected. And this Paris Accord is a national issue, and this is where the focus of action has to be aimed. Calls should be made to the congressmen and to the senators' offices. Having worked in these offices, I got to tell you, phone calls from citizens are very powerful. It's important to remember that before there was a Paris Climate Accord, or President Trump, the city of Marquette was working to protect the environment, and I hope and I'm quite confident that future commissions will do the same thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Frazier?
Thanks for all the great info, Tom. You just ruined our shortest meeting in a long time record. Our city manager's got a record of the longest meetings and the city with the most circles, so you just ruined our shortest meeting record. Another board I'm on has very short meetings. I'm hoping we could try and pass that by, but I don't think so. But your information is very good, and I'm glad you did your knowledge. And I don't know what you're running for, Tom, but it sounds like a great campaign speech, maybe for something. But I mean, it's very knowledgeable, and everybody in the UP is very relied on environment, and we all appreciate that stuff. And I think we ought to make a motion to, on nice days like this, there's only a few of them we get in the summer, especially this year, we should make our meetings in Matson Park or something, set up a tent and have maybe a film crew from the news station film it for us or something like that. Be a great opportunity to have a nice day like this. If we could move the meetings to Matson Park, still be room for everybody, be standing room only. That's enough for me.
Thank you. Commissioner Cambenzi?
Well, I'll comment, certainly on the ask for the resolution with the Paris Agreement and the climate change. We did receive, I would say, both pro and I guess definitely against pushing this forward, with the emphasis being on why make it political at the city level. And so I've done a lot of thinking over the weekend. And I guess the first thing that came to mind is that Marquette has always been recognized, it seems lately, as a city that stands out in our nation. We're recognized for our biking, we're recognized for our beaches, our lakeshore, our tourism, everything. And we take great pride in that. And as Mayor Pro Tem Baldini said, we've been doing this stuff with or without an agreement. And I think, we certainly should feel good about that. One person I talked to after I showed them our resolution from 2012 said, the current resolution you have came from a grant, and it doesn't really say what the city is doing now. Do you think you could revise that resolution to more accurately reflect everything that, Mayor Pro Tem Baldini stated that we're doing, so that citizens do feel, with or without, at the national level, joining the Paris Agreement or not, we are being proactive. We are being, we're taking care of our earth, our community as best we can locally. And I thought that might be a nice compromise to not making it political, but certainly recognizing that there were almost 600 people that signed this agreement, with 400 of them, many of them that I knew when I went and read the comments, that feel passionately about this. And so I guess I would like to put it out there to our commission. Would we consider creating a resolution or revising our resolution to more accurately reflect where we are today and those accomplishments and where we want to go further? I think that might be a nice way to handle this. Secondly, I just want to say that I support our local workers. They were down protesting today because we may see some out-of-state labor come in when we have guys from the Empire Mine and other realms that are laid off currently, and that hurts. We have guys that stuck around because of all the construction work, and many of them now are sitting there without jobs, and their next attempt is to leave if it doesn't get better. And that means our schools suffer. These are people that pay taxes in our community. They shop at our local stores. This is a big deal, and I was down there with them today. I stood with them, and I just want to say that I support them. I think that when we give organizations tax breaks or incentives, and they ask us to use their healthcare system, I guess I have no problem asking them back to please consider hiring local and hiring our laborers. And that's it.
Thank you. Commissioner Plord?
I'd just like to echo what Mayor Pro Tem Baldini said and add my name to that report. And I'd like to point out, too, a resolution would be nice, but I think a resolution in one sense would diminish what's been done in the city of Marquette and what's going to be done in the city of Marquette. Certainly, the history of what's been done and what Mayor Pro Tem Baldini has reported shows that we are already there. We're there ahead of time, and we're taking concrete steps, and we're going to continue to take concrete steps. I can tell you from my part that absolutely I'm concerned about the environment and I'm concerned about climate, and will definitely support the cleanest environment that we can have for future generations. What I would really like to see is the group that Mr. Glendon represents and the people who signed the agreement to name the Marquette City Commission as leaders in that area and recognize the Marquette City Commission, present and past, for what we've already done and what we propose to do. And we are the board, a governing board that gets it. We understand. And we, again, have taken concrete steps. We've approved and basically essentially spent millions of dollars to make our personal and our own environment clean and to keep it clean for the future. When you look at the new energy center, that's expected to be in operation for the next 100 years. It's bound to clean the air, and it's bound to clean the environment around it. And so there's a lot more work to do. We understand that. We've got a handle on the work that needs to be done, the next step and the step after that, and we're going to continue to work towards it. And so, again, I'd like to see organizations that are interested in the Paris Accord name the Marquette City Commission, past and present, as leaders in environmental quality and climate control quality. That being said, again, another nice day, and I'm glad it's summertime.
Commissioner Reynolds.
Well, we all have our little, I agree with everything that obviously Commissioner Baldini has said. With that, we have been committed toward the environment, and I am very proud of the city for that. But I am more prone to Commissioner Kambenzi's point of view, because over the weekend I also did some thinking about this. We've received calls, emails. I got stopped at the co-op, Target, and the ORDOC and asking me to put forward something. I've been asked by 2 individuals on the climate task force that they wanted us to start something and be a part of this. And the reason is, most of the time, each person I spoke to said over and over, Marquette, we always said we want to be the example, and we continue to want to be the example. The reason that we all put forward that short-term rental policy is because we wanted to be the example. I don't know why we can't continue to be that example and do those things. I mean, yes, something happened in 2014, but this is a whole entire different commission that's also sitting down at this point, and we've done more work since then. So I don't necessarily see the harm in doing something differently. Maybe if someone could tell me what the harm would be, then I could maybe feel differently about it, but I don't necessarily see the problem with supporting a proclamation, or, as Commissioner Kambenzi brought up, amending our resolution. So other than that, I do have a question for the city manager. Over the last few weeks, we've all gotten comments on the dark skies, and as you all know, I haven't been extremely on top of my email. So I'm wondering if you have any kind of update, because as I read these emails, I understand that the Presque Isle Advisory Board isn't okay with doing this, and I am going to respect their decision, but I'm wondering if there's any kind of resolution we could have.
Sure.
Other than just the ultimate no.
Well, I could send you another email.
Do you want to hold for later? Just
Whatever you'd like.
yeah. Are you done? Well, Mr. Glendon, I appreciate you coming here tonight. I do appreciate your efforts. It was good to hear it. Although I feel the purpose of the city commission here is, we're here to conduct the business of the city and how it affects the residents of the city. I don't believe that we should be taking a stand on the Paris Climate Accord. This was a federal decision, and I feel it needs to be dealt with at the national level. Nobody wants to see our planet overcome with greenhouse emissions, but this accord goes a lot deeper, and I feel it has some far-reaching implications. I would hope people try to read this accord. It's complicated, but it's important to read it and understand what's coming out of it. I think it'll surprise you. Don't just take it at face value. Here in Marquette, we have people that are for it, but we also have people that are against it. And I feel that their concerns, if you have concerns, it should be taken to our federally elected officials. They are the ones that are going to have to deal with this. As was stated earlier by Commissioner Baldini, the city of Marquette has done, to me, more than its share. They've been a leader. We've addressed climate adaptation. We've passed a resolution 4 or 5 years ago, and we've made commitments within the master plan. So I feel we are doing as much or more than perhaps any city in the UP, perhaps in the state. So I'm fine with that. One other thing, Wednesday is Flag Day. Please honor your flag, fly it. If you don't have one, buy it. We should be flying your flag. You should appreciate your nation. Thank you. City Manager.
I'll probably be the longest one commenting here tonight. To answer the first question or the comment regarding the dark sky, The Presque Isle Park Advisory Committee is not necessarily against the project. However, they understand both sides of the issue. What staff has been trying to do is come to some compromise that might accommodate both sides of the issue. The one side being the dark sky supporters who want the island to be open, unlighted, unsecured, I guess easy access or open access to anybody at night, any night of the week. I think during the summer, I'm not sure if it's a 12-month thing or not. The other side of the coin is city staff and myself that's a little concerned about turning off the lights, opening the island up at night to just about, or anyone that wants to go out there. Now, the dark sky people, I'm sure would be fine out there doing what they do, but it's the fact that the park is now open to anybody, and we have to open it to everybody. We just can't exclude one group over another. And our concern has been opening that island up to people wandering around at night who may or may not be related to the dark sky. I mean, we have to admit people fall off those cliffs in the daylight, and I'm a little concerned about having them accessible in this manner at night. So what we tried to do from the city side was offer some compromise in that, for example, maybe we could schedule one night a week or dark sky nights or some type of control event where we could actually have staff present or something of that nature to make sure that the island is being used with the intention of the dark sky people, not people just wandering all over the island. However, that is not apparently acceptable. It's my understanding the supporters of the dark sky they just want the free and open access to kind of go when the moment is right or when the sky is right, and not have to have any type of restrictions as far as scheduling things in advance and things of that nature. Now, I think we're still want to be flexible. I mean, even if, for example, we schedule certain nights of the week on a regular basis, and if the skies are good, the skies are good. If they're not. Or if they have often you'll have pre or advanced knowledge of a stellar event, you can schedule for that night to have the dark sky situation arranged and controlled, but that's not apparently acceptable. Now, it's been pointed out, and maybe in some of the emails that you received, that this is something that's happened in other parts of the state. It's been successful, but I guess I would challenge to say it hasn't been done in a area like Presque Isle. I mean, it's my understanding the other areas are parks or areas of less or probably safer areas where they don't have high cliffs, where they don't have water, where they don't have the risk of people hurting themselves, with the ultimate responsibility falling back on the city of Marquette and our right or our responsibility to protect the citizens from themselves sometimes. So we're trying to work with it, trying to be a little more responsible. I don't want to say more responsible than they are, but act in a responsible manner to the rest of the community that would likely be out there or could likely be out there. Need any more? Thank you. Yeah, there's a liability. If we open our parks, anytime we open our parks, there's a liability that we could potentially have. I think I'm correct in that, or are we?
I'm not going to give an opinion right here. I don't think that's a good idea to discuss that.
Okay. But I mean, yeah, it's a responsibility we just don't want to have. And even if there isn't a financial reliability, I mean, I think there would be, but even if there isn't, we still have somewhat of a responsibility to anticipate known dangers and known problems and try to act and prevent them. In other news, the new land development code kickoff meeting is going to be on the 20th of June. in chambers at 5 p.m. for anybody that's interested and anybody in the public that might have a interest in being involved in that code evaluation process. We are extending some invitations to some interested parties. This kickoff is going to be the first step in gleaning some interest from the public about who or what type of people might want to be involved in the process, might want to be involved on any subcommittee or ad hoc committee that the commission could appoint in the future, to give them an idea what we're looking for and the type of participation we're anticipating. So for those that are out there that who might be in the development world or construction world, or who have issues with our codes, our zoning ordinances, and our processes, this would be a good opportunity for those people to become involved. The 20th, 6:20 at 5 p.m. in the commission chambers. Also that same night, same time, we have a public tour scheduled for the Coast Guard property. It'll be a second opportunity for interested community to participate in that study process that is currently underway for the Coast Guard reuse, the property reuse. I understand there could very well be a tour of the lighthouse that night as well. I have community office hours this week, Wednesday, 10 p.m., Peter White Public Library, for anybody that would like to attend. I'm sorry, 10 a.m. Yeah, 10 p.m. Show up. No, 10 a.m. Sorry about that. And just a friendly reminder that on the 26th of this month at 4 o'clock, we have our annual audit presentation and a work session downstairs in room 103. We'll also have a second work session at 4:30 or thereabouts for the commission to hear our proposals and some of the feedback for our solid waste or waste disposal contracts that are up for renewal at the end of this summer. And one last thing, I had a meeting today regarding our Johnson Control plan, the new thing that we're looking at to try to reuse some of our, revitalize some of our infrastructure and hopefully gain some return on our investment as far as energy savings. The final recommendation to me will be on the July 6th. We have a scheduled work session, and I'll mention this every meeting between now and then, on the 26th of July. And then a final approval is still expected on the 31st of July. And every indication I have so far is that it's going very well. And the news that will be coming in the end will be very positive. That's all I have. Thank you.
We are adjourned. Under an hour.